Hi, everyone. This is Michele Graglia.
This is Marianne Hogan.
Hi, I'm Adrian McDonald.
I'm Katie Asmith.
Hi, this is Anthony Gasals.
Hi, my name is Meg Morgan.
Hey, it's Jordan Trove.
This is John Ray.
This is Ryan Van Duzer, and you are listening to the Gotta Run Racing Podcast.
All right, this is our second revisit to start 2025. In this episode, we look back on our chat with Dean Johnson, the race director of the Lost Soul Ultra, one of Canada's only 100K Western States qualifier. LSU is known as the toughest race on the prairies and voted best aid stations in the universe, which this chat with Dean inspired you to take on Lost Soul this year, did it not?
It did. He invited us to take on the challenge, and I said, challenge accepted. And I have a big rock to prove it.
Yes.
That's now in our garden.
20 years of history of Lost Soul, how it became a Western States qualifier, and the history that it continues to make out there in the prairies.
Here's Dean Johnson coming up.
Welcome to the podcast, Dean Johnson.
Thanks for having me. It's I've listened to many of your podcasts, especially when you've been interviewing some guests that have friends of mine and people I know, and people have come to our race. So it's I'm glad that I was introduced to you guys.
Well, your race has certainly come up a lot in our chats with our Western guest for sure.
Our Canadian trail to Western States. A lot of people have done Lost Soul.
And
theoretically, it's an easy race, right? It's a prairie race. You only have to run 100 kilometers in 21 hours. And you do the math, you could fast walk that, and we only have 2 laps and 50K laps. And then there's 3,600 feet or 1,200 meters of elevation per lap. So it's pretty small, right? But man, the DNF rate, even in the 100K, is in the 25% range.
That's pretty good.
It started off 20 years ago, 2000, and it's a group of guys. They took the template from the Bighorn in Wyoming, Bighorn Ultra in Wyoming. We have some of the oldest awards available to man. Our awards are somewhere around 400 million years old. So the river rocks, right? They've been cooking and stuff out there for 400 million years. As a finisher, we have these etched rocks. They're sandblasted. It's not just painted. We've got a guy. One of the original race directors, he was the original guy doing it. So many people wanted to run the race, but we were just limited by the rock. We kind of switched it over. We said, okay, we're going to just give you a finisher rock. And if you want to get it customized, you can get it customized after. But then we would pre-do all the rocks. So now we can handle 320 runners between the 100 mile, 100K, and 50K. And so we start Friday. Friday's 100 mile and 100K. The 100Ks finish, the 50K start on Saturday. Our course, it's a lot of single tracks, so it's not easy to pass. We just found, I think we went up to 350 one year because so many people were wanting, and it was just, we could feel that extra 30 people on the course and in the aid stations. And because it's in that bell curve, those people in the middle, they kind of keep all moving together. We kind of settled on 320 total is our max. And we usually sell out the first day. It's kind of a homey race where elites don't come to it. It's more of a homecoming.
What's the history behind the name?
The Lost Soul, Ron Bain, he started the running store in Lethbridge, Runner's Soul. He was one of the originators of this race. And then he also did the marathon. It was called Music for the Soul. The soul emphasis kind of came through, but also when you're out there on this course, you're alone, right? Pretty much every race. And because it's a large loop, it's a 50K loop in the coulees, and there's other than the aid stations, so it's kind of like a 2 figure eights stacked. There's a south loop, and in between another aid station, and then a north loop. And then you kind of come back. And so you bounce back and forth. So you'll see people at the aid station, but the course doesn't really mingle too much. When you're out there, you're kind of on your own, and that's part of the experience. And people, they kind of like that. Being alone. If you want to be with somebody, well, you just wait for a runner to come along and you run along with it. The 100 milers can have a pacer. The 100Ks can't. We were just finding there's too many people on the course because the 100K is a Western States qualifier.
Right.
And it's been for a long time. It's, quote, an easy one. And so we have probably usually a dozen Americans will fly in for it. Okay. And we'll get some people come in from like Wisconsin and stuff for a couple of years. And then we'll get a few Californians every year, a few Oregon, probably 3 or 4 from Montana. just
And you're
because
only
it's
a couple hours from the border, so that makes it easier.
1 hour
to-
drive. Yeah, 1 hour drive from the U.S. border, Great Falls. So people can fly into Great Falls, Montana, or even Whitefish, and then rent a car and drive in, or fly out of Calgary and stuff. It's pretty easy now. We're within the city limits for the most of it. It's easy access for driving to the next aid station is like 5 minutes. It's for the crews. They love it because you're not driving through country roads trying to find cats. It's very crew friendly. Our aid stations have lots of room for the crews and stuff. So it's more of a fun race, and we try and keep that aspect that it's more of an event. That's the kind of stuff that we kind of do because we're a small race. We've got a group of 4 race directors that are working really hard. So that's where the Lost Soul came from in the naming. And with our Lost Soul race, so we do the 50K Saturday and the 100K 100 miler start Sunday. And yeah, it makes for a long weekend, but I can't imagine having all of those runners happening at the same time. It would kind of take away from the atmosphere we're looking for, the Lost Soul atmosphere of this is more of a personal endeavor.
What's your favorite part of the race, being a race director? What's your favorite part? For me personally, I just enjoy setting up the course 3 days before.
That part, I guess I'm kind of a nitpicky. I like designing things. I like going to races. At Javelina, I volunteer every year. I usually do 2, 3, 4 shifts at different areas, right? And just to kind of get some ideas. And one was, it's better if I have an aid station if runners come in and go out the exact same way. Whereas a lot of times we'll have the runners come through and they get lost. They don't know where to leave, especially if there's a north and a south. Yeah. And so then you got this stuff going on, and it's kind of comical because we'd be at the aid station because we we make a little tweak one year and we see the runners come through and they're running in circle, like literally they're running in a circle. Where do I leave? And they'll start getting, and then the volunteer will race after. No, you got to come this way. So we're standing back as race directors trying to, and we're just, it's comical, it's entertaining, and it's one of those challenges. Really, the part is just probably the chatting with the runners. And so I love hanging out at the aid station. I see people that I haven't seen for a year, and we have a quick little chat, help them out. Or there's a few people that they're having a really low point, and you kind of talk them through it. And they don't have a bone sticking out or anything. I tell them, okay, let's just walk together and let's get out of the aid station. I said, you run for 10 minutes. And if you don't like it, come back and we'll get your ride back in. we never see them. They just keep going. You get to see those stories. You get to experience the humanity at a race.
Yeah.
I think it's the connection with the people is my favorite part of the race.
Cool. I think every runner at some point in time should volunteer, because it's so easy to judge what's going on in an event without knowing what happens behind the scenes. And as race directors, we know that we're doing a lot behind the scenes before race day, and then 50 volunteers show up and we kind of hand it off to them on race day in the hopes that everything goes well. And as a volunteer, when you look at all the organization that's happened to get to this point, I think you appreciate that so much more as a runner. And then it makes you appreciate the entire process, which I think a lot of people, we always seem to get the same people volunteering all the time. And I would love to just say, hey, I think we're going to implement something where if you volunteer, you're going to get credits to put towards next year's events. And then I think we'll see more people who maybe wouldn't volunteer normally come in and do that. But you mentioned that you've done a lot of races in the States trying to pick up pointers. Without naming names, can you think of an experience you had that you didn't go well, that you thought, let's hope this never happens at LSU?
Or you're not doing that.
Have you guys checked out our merch via our website, GottaRun Racing? We have some really cool swag, including the mugs that, if you've watched our YouTube video, that we drink with. Cool red mug with a cork bottom. It keeps liquids nice and cold or warm. What else do we have on there, Norm?
Well, we have our shirts that I'm wearing.
That's right. You can either choose from GottaRunPodcast or GottaRun Racing. You can also find our 20-liter dry bags, which are a steal at $25. Perfect for using at drop-off bag at an aid station. We've got flasks, We also have cooling multifunctional neckwear, which is a fancy word for a cooling buff. Has the Gotta Run Racing and Podcast logos on it. Not to mention, we have the affiliate links for the 3 companies, for the 3 brands that we are affiliated with, that being Air Relax, Compression Therapy, Caffeine Bullet, and Kinesis Sunscreen. So by following those links, you can access exclusive discounts. So do check that out, GottaRunRacing.com.
Yeah, things I've learned. So I've been on the safety patrol. So we usually pack up extra water and some flagging stuff, and we head out at 10 a.m. and usually backwards on the course on the Saturday morning. These runners become liabilities in that they're going to suck a lot of resources if they go down partway out in the course. We've had to, the one year I only made it 2 miles, and we spent almost the whole day because some guy cratered in the 100K. He cratered about 2 miles from the first lap. We ended up having to call the medics. We had to carry him out, and they have a stretcher, but it's like a bag. So we had to carry him about half a mile. And it was the unfun part. Some of the things I learned there is just make sure that the runners are prepared. And even at the aid station, like at Lost Soul, we have one that is notorious. That it's not notorious because they think it's a hard leg. I think it's an easy leg, but the sun comes out and they crater in the last coulee before they get to the aid station. And we end up having to call paramedics in, or trying to prevent those problems will save you guys and us a whole lot of work, because you don't want a runner going down out on the course, especially like they're dehydrated, dizzy, fainting. Parking. I'm not sure if you guys, parking is probably your biggest concern, because if people do not have easy parking, and you can expect that they're going to show up 15 minutes before the race, expect a parking stall, and they can still make it to the start line.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, it's just a crap storm. Just some of the things that I learned volunteering at some of these other races has really helped. And I would say that a lot of our first-time ultra runners, I tell them, if they're talking to us about running, and this is kind of cool. I said, come and volunteer one year. And then all of a sudden they're hooked. They're going, I got to do this, because they get to see the humanity. The aid stations, you'll see people come through, because they come through going both ways. So they see them early and then they see them later. And they'll go, oh, that's fun. And then what is that? It's like,
exactly.
I'm not sure if I want to do that way, but I think it's, it's exciting. And you get to see people at their best and worst. And
I'm going to move on to Lost Soul again, that it's a Western States qualifier. I was wondering, how did that come about? How did you get Western States to be qualified?
I think because it's been around for so long. It was a qualifier before I came on. Me and so 4 of the other race directors, we've only been there for the past, since 2012 was our first race, just over 10 years. And they had it before that. And I think because one of our race directors, Dave Watson, I think he got in touch back when it was probably easier to be a Western States qualifying race. Before, it wasn't a big deal, right? I think is a qualifier, and you probably had a 50% chance of getting in back in the early days. So that might have been like early 2000s. So I don't know the history of that exactly, but it's maintained it. It was weird, because it used to be you had to finish, and I think it was 16 hours, and which was tough, right, on our course. And then they I don't know if they relaxed some of the rules, and maybe it's because of our DNF rate, because I think they used a formula. And then they told us, no, it's 21 hours. You can have 21. And I'm going, I don't really want that. So we were, and it used to be, we used to let the 100K people run the same duration of time as the 100 milers. And so we got people running, they do a lap, go sleep for 8 hours and come back and race. It was kind of messing up we said, no, now it's going to be 21 hours. The 100K runners finish at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, and the 50K start at 7 a.m. So we have an hour in between, just to kind of separate the races, easier for timing, and just kind of structurally making that work well. But yeah, and it's a draw for a number of people. And although with the fires that have been happening in the last 4 years, all of a sudden we'll get phone calls like the week of the race, because some of these races get canceled, like Pine to Palm and some other ones. And these races are now looking for a race to qualify in. I think we were able to open up like an extra 10 spots, knowing that these people are probably pretty fast. And we kind of let them get in, just because they were they were under the gun because they only have until whatever it is, late November, early December to qualify. And because of our September race, there's not a lot happening after that point.
Is there any way that it's going to be eventually a golden ticket race?
I would say no. And we had a discussion about, should we have prize money out there? And I go, personally, I don't even know if I want to be, I don't want to be a race director if we're now putting prize money out there, because now that brings a whole level of administration you're going to have to do. And there's going to be people cutting courses and all. I said, no, I'm not into prizes. Although the winners get some pretty cool prizes. We have a lady that does rock art. And so it's a frame picture. Year round, she finds pebbles and then she makes little figurines and landscapes out of these pebbles. And if you win the male and female of the 3 distances, you get this. And so they're probably worth, I don't know, if you're buying them, about $100 a piece, but they're just beautiful pieces of art. And they kind of look like our coolies.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, we like to end our podcast with a little rapid fire.
You know about that.
You know about it.
I
You know
knew.
what's coming.
I didn't prep though.
All right, here we go. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Butter tarts with or without raisins?
Chocolate's preferred if I had to, without raisins.
Oh, you're making good friends here with Nora.
You are now my new best friend.
What's your favorite carb?
Favorite carb is probably either chocolate or salt and vinegar chips. Both of those are my two go-to foods on the trail.
Can you find salt and vinegar chips in the States now?
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
have them? Okay.
They don't have ketchup down here.
No.
That's the one
Right.
that people look for.
They're lost. What's another sport you'd like to excel in?
Probably golf with my buddies in the summertime. And maybe not the time. I just need to be able to outdrive them.
That's
Okay.
a frustrating sport.
What's your worst habit?
Oh, reading an article, on the web and then clicking all the links. And then my browser is filled up with like
That's a
5 or 10 more, 20 more links that now I've got to sit down, and my browser has like 80 open links. And I got to sit down and read through them because, you read one article and that spins off to 5 others. So that's a wormhole I can't get out of.
That's Norman, his having a bunch of apps open on his phone. Oh, drives me bananas.
Just flipping it off.
Have you run at your bucket list race yet?
Wow. Boston was the big one. It took me like 3 or 4 years to qualify for it, and getting there.
What about stage
I
races?
don't know, like
stage races like the Trans Rocky?
I don't know if I agree with you. The Trans Rockies, I was watching that and I go, that would be cool because you just go, you run, have a beer and meal. They
That's
have
right.
tents there for you. Okay. I'd probably do the Trans Rockies, but I'm a little too cheap.
Very good. Well, thanks again. This
Thanks
has
for
been
joining
great.
us. Yeah. Thanks for
Well, thanks for having me.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thanks
Thanks,
again.
Norm, Jody.
Yep.
And please share this to all of your Lost Soul followers once we
I
put
will.
it out there.
all right.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Cheers.
Well, doesn't that make you want to do Lost Soul Ultra now?
Yes. Geez.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. It's a great history of Canada. It's been around for such a long time. And it's never ending running in the coulees. You're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down.
Yeah.
So you got to really
It's
train.
deceivingly hard.
Yeah, you got to really train for this thing. But the end, you get across the finish line, you get yourself a Western States ticket. So I say, hey, why not? Let's do this thing.
Absolutely.
And he's quite the runner himself. The guy goes and does Black Canyon, and now he's getting his feet wet into the longer distance of trail running.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, he's done a lot of shorter distance trails as well, which we didn't get into because we didn't have the time, but he does have quite an extensive running career. Yeah, you can check him out at rundeanrun.ca.
cool.
We'd like to thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our show. If you liked it, please share it on your social feeds, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So drop us a comment, give us a like, ring that bell. It does help us out. And if you know someone who'd make a great guest, let us know. We're always looking for interesting runners to chat with.
Till next time, cheers.